I have a question about the transportation plan. I understand there's also a state match for this, and what is the goal for this particular plan?
Sure, I'll ask Liza Benz, Transportation.
Good evening. Freeholder Kowalski, you asked how this, how this is structured. We receive funding through the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority through a $300,000 grant. And 80% would be going towards the consultant on the project, and 20% would be a county match. So it would be $240,000 to the consultant and a match with $60,000 of any kind of support from the county.
Excuse me, through you, Chairman. So what is the goal? What are we expecting to be the result of what this group does for us? They're going to have some kind of an integrated proposed plan for all the transportation within the county?
Yes. We have an existing transportation master plan that was published in 2002, and we're in 2015. These plans usually need updating every 10 to 12 years, so we're beyond the usual period cycle. And in addition, a great many changes have happened in Union County in transportation in intervening years. And I'll just mention that, for instance, we have a new missing links on the Garden State Parkway 78 intersection. We have Gulfs Bridge being undertaken and replacement. We have the B-22 shuttle. A number of our towns now have gotten designated for transit-oriented development, which was just beginning to be spoken about in 2001 and 2002. And there are other initiatives like the growing interest in pedestrian access and in bicycle planning. In the intervening years since 2002, we've seen the opening of the East Coast Greenway that crosses our county, and it has generated a lot of interest in the plan. So what we're looking at is creating a plan, a new plan, looking at the goals and the visions of the previous one, and expanding it to what we are looking at today and the world we will project to see in another 10 to 12 years. Thank you.
Anything else?
Oh, there is, I'm sorry, excuse me, there is an additional element to this. We are also asking our consultant to create a public transportation map for Union County showing our buses and our rail lines. We have a very rich public transportation system, and we have not had a similar map created in almost 20 years.
Thank you.
35. This is Transportation Master Plan updated. That's very good. Seems like it's been out of date for a while. My questions are, what criteria were used to select RBA Group? How many consulting firms were interviewed for this project? How was the fee determined? And was it negotiated? Consultants have a way of bamboozling people into believing their services are worth more than they are. I hope you can answer those questions. Thank you very much.
May I ask Liza Benz to answer?
Thank you, guys.
To address the questions that are posed about the Transportation Master Plan, the funding is received through the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, and the money is, the source of it is federal, and we're obligated to follow the federal process for the advertising of the request for proposal that was created for the study. The proposal was advertised, and as part of the proposal, a sheet listing the criteria with which submissions would be judged were part of it. There were 7 criteria. And we received 4 proposals. And the consultant selection committee was formed and reviewed the 4 submissions according to the criteria and scored them. And I guess, what's the other question?
You can, just for everyone who comes to the microphone from our staff, you direct it to
Oh,
me.
I'm sorry.
That's no problem at all.
And the amount is for no more than $240,000. That was noted in the RFP, and the consultants submitted proposals to that amount or within, and that's not negotiable.
Thank you.
235, again, that's RBA getting $240,000. I listened to both times. I got her name explaining the situation. But some questions actually come to mind. Is in this transportation master plan, hopefully, are you doing something with some kind of electric charging stations across the county? Is there going to be something addressed to that? Or even propane gas car stations? Because, I mean, this is all new moving forward with the technology being improved for these type of energy-saving vehicles. Also, could somebody please explain who was on that committee and why that number 240,000 came up? Is that just what the state gave us and that's what we were shooting for? And it's interesting, you mentioned, they all came close to 240. Yeah, well, when you put a number in there, everybody jumps at that number expecting the criteria, there to be acceptable, and so somebody's going to get it, and I'd like to know who on the committee did that.
That's 235 RVA. County manager, could you answer? One was, I believe, had to do with electric charging stations.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly part of the master plan will include all types of alternative energy sources of transportation. To another question, yes, $240,000 was the amount that the state had allocated for the grant. And as part of the evaluation committee, as per state requirement, a member of NJTPA was part of the scoring and part of the actual committee itself.
Freeholder Estrada, you wanted to comment on this matter?
Sure.
Right.
The terminology master plan already explains pretty clearly as to what exactly are we trying to do. It is important for all counties to have these kinds of master plans in order to ensure that capital or actually resources come into the counties based on our plans. This is what the federal government as well as the NJTPA uses for allocating future funds. What will it include in this master plan? Includes everything. Includes safe roads to schools, includes buses, includes trains, alternate transportations, paratransit transportation for the elderly, includes everything. Because the intention of this is not only to make it available or to have it in Union County, but actually have it in every other county in a tri-state. When it comes to transportation, the NJTPA works very closely together with the state of New York as well as Connecticut. Because we're all involved, we're all in the same highly densely populated area that unfortunately, no matter how much we need in terms of transportation, there just never is enough. It takes into account projections for the future. For example, it takes into account how many containers will be arriving at our port and how those containers are going to get somewhere. And as you know, Union County has an airport, it has a seaport, and many other infrastructure operations that require a tremendous amount for planning in order to make this living in this area very versatile, and at the same time is very challenging. So the dollar amount, that was the maximum that the federal government allowed in terms of this particular grant. There's a match fund of $60,000 by the county, so it's a total of $300,000 overall. Would they go to that level? Well, we'll see. I mean, part of the process is now they have to go back and determine by meeting with the stakeholders. Now, stakeholders is not only the County of Union, our businesses, educational institutions, all across the board, those who have an impact in transportation will play a role. This doesn't happen overnight. This is a process that will take some time, and there will be a very, what I consider will be a very intricate study as to where we are today, where we're going to be tomorrow, and what does it take financially to get us there. So I'm looking forward to the plan.
Thank you for your quality.
Yes, and thank you, Freeholder Estrada. And if I might just add to that, it's vital that we have the master plan in order to be eligible for further federal funding so that we can continue to improve our transportation throughout the county. We could just opt out and say, well, we don't want to study anything, but then we wouldn't have the information and we wouldn't be able to present it to the federal government so that we would be able to get more funding.
Thank you.